Today, students, you will be doing Google Slides Lesson 4.2, creating app icons, and you'll be learning to use shapes in this lesson. In the overview, it says you are enrolled in a mobile apps design class. One of your first assignments is to recreate some icons for most of them, for some of the most popular apps out there. The teacher did not tell you specifically what program to use, but you recognize that many of them use basic shapes and colors. You decide that using Google Slides would be a great way to create the icons. You decide to create icons for apps related to the weather, maps, messaging, calendar, and a calculator. In this lesson, you will use the drawing tools in Google Slides to create apps commonly found on smartphones. And you'll see the new skills that are listed below the red line, including inserting and aligning shapes, changing fill color and border color, as well as line weight, duplicating a slide, using the undo and redo, inserting word art, text boxes, and then grouping items together. So we are going to go ahead and begin with the instructions. And it says to go to your My Slides folder and create a new presentation and name it Lesson 4.2. So I'm going to go to My Slides and do a new Slides. And this is going to be Lesson 4.2. All right, so that came up and it's fully loaded on my screen now, and you can see the themes panel is open over here as well. And so let's go on with the instructions. It says in instruction step number 2, choose the simple dark theme. It says hint, if the theme panel does not automatically open, then the theme is an option on the button bar, and there it is, but it automatically opens, so I'm going to choose simple dark. And then after selecting the correct theme, you're going to close the theme panel, make it a little bit wider work area. And so I'm going to go on now to slide 1 because that's what I'm working on. And slide 1 is the title slide, and it says in the title box, I'm going to type creating fun apps. And then the subtitle is going to be, it says in the subtitle box, type created by and a colon and a space, and it says insert your full name here, so I'm going to put Hawkins. All right, and then step 5 says to click the new slide drop down menu and choose title only. So that's all I'm going to do on that slide. And here's the new slide drop down, and I'm going to choose title only. See, it says title only. All right, so it comes to this slide. All right, now I'm ready for slide 2. It says in the title box, type weather app. All right, simple enough. And then click in the slide somewhere so that nothing is selected. All right, so nothing is selected. Now it says step 7, insert shapes. It says Google has many ready-made shapes. To insert them, you will follow these steps from the shapes drop-down menu on the button bar. Here it is. Click it. It says click shapes. I pointed to it. I didn't actually even have to click on it. And then select the rounded rectangle. There it is. Right, so I've selected it. And then in step B, it says to create a rounded square, or to create a rounded square, hold down the shift key, then click and drag until your square is similar in size to the picture of the picture on the slide below. It says note, holding the shift key forces the rectangle to be a square and will also force an oval to be a perfect circle. So if you wanted a rectangle, you just click and drag. So see, that's a rectangle. But since I want it to be a square, I'm going to hold down the shift. And notice when you hold down the shift, you can make it bigger or smaller, but it has to stay a square. So I'm going to make it about the size it shows there. And I'm just going to kind of drag it up there. All right, so it looks about right, I think. Okay, and then step 8, it says align shapes. It says to align shapes horizontally and vertically, click and drag the rounded square and use the red grid line that appears to align the square to the center of your slide. Continue to move the square until you get a cross on the entire slide. So let's see, I'm going to move. Oh, there is a red line. So now I need to move it up or down. Find the center. Oh, there it is. Look. So you can see when you get the red cross that goes all the way across, then you know that it's right in the center of the slide. So that's what I want. Let go of it. Next, it says to change the fill color. It says to change the fill color or the inside color of a shape, select the rounded square, and then from the fill color drop-down menu, choose cauliflower blue. So I've selected it, and there's the fill color drop-down, and I'm going to choose cornflower blue. All right. Easy enough. And I see below step 9, there are several things identified there that you're going to be using. So like for the line weight or border weight, you can see that there as well. Adding a text box, a border color, those are all there. So I'm going on to step 10, and it says to change the border color. Says to change the line color of a shape, select the rounded square, and then from the border color drop-down menu, choose white. So let's see. Here's the border color. Click it. And white is over here. It doesn't look like anything, but it's right there. You can kind of see white when on the edge. And then in step 11, it says to change the border weight. It says to change the line weight, select the rounded square, and then from the border weight drop-down menu, choose 8 points. So here is the border weight, and I'm going to choose 8. See, it makes it a lot wider. And then step 13. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm step 12. I'm jumping ahead. It says, now it is time to insert another shape inside the blue box. It says, so from the shapes button, which is right here, choose shapes. Then find the shape of the sun. Just have to look around. There it is. There's the sun. And I'm going to click on it and insert the sun, the shape. Insert the shape in a size that is similar to what you see below. So I'm going to click that. And it pretty much takes up the whole thing, I think. So I'm just going to make it a little bigger here. Notice that it's obviously not the right color. That is okay. Okay. And yours may or may not come in the same color as mine did. It really doesn't matter. Okay. Because step 13 is going to have us to change the fill color of the shaped orange and the border weight to 2. So I'm going to go here to make sure I have the sun selected and change the to orange fill and this to 2. All right, so that definitely looks a little bit better there. Okay, so now I am ready to do the next step, which it says is to duplicate a slide. So duplicating a slide simply means you're going to make an exact copy of a slide. So in this case, I'm going to make an exact copy of this slide. All right. It says to make a copy of an existing slide, select the slide to thumbnail on the left side of your screen. So here's the slide to thumbnail. I'm just going to click on it. And then it says from the slide menu, choose duplicate slide. All right. It says note, you can also right click on the thumbnail and choose duplicate slide as an alternative method. So if I click that, I could just do it there. But anyway, so now I have 2 of these exact slides, but actually I'm going to use this one as slide 3. So I'm going to go on now. So we are going to begin slide 3, and we're going to be using slide 3 over here. Slide 3 says step 15, change the word weather to maps. I'm going to select that. Type maps app. Okay. And then it says to change the fill color of the square to red berry. So I'm going to click here and red berry. And then it says to use the undo and redo. It says click the undo button. to change the color back to cauliflower blue, and then it says to click the redo button to switch back to berry red or red berry. So it's just wanting you to see that you can use that undo button and redo button in Google Slides as well. So now it says to delete the sun shape. So I'm going to click, make sure that I have just the sun shape, and I'm going to hit delete. So it is gone, and it says, and replace it with the bent arrow from the arrows option under shapes. So shapes, and I'm going to find the bent arrow. Oh, I have to go to arrow. There we go. There's the bent arrow. And it says in a similar size to what you see below. So I'll have to, if you look at that, okay, that's about the size of that arrow. Doesn't have to be perfect, but get as close as you can. It says change the fill color and the border color of the bent arrow to white. So it's still selected. I'm going to go fill and line to white. All right, so mine looks pretty similar to what I'm looking at there on page on that step of instructions. So now it says in step 20, which is where I'm at now, it says to duplicate slide 3. So I'm going to right click and duplicate. So there we are, slide 3. So now I'm on to slide 4. It says change the word maps to messages. All right, then it says to change the fill color of the square to dark green 2. So let's see, dark green 2. Then it says to delete the bent arrow and replace it with the oval callout from the callouts option under shapes in a similar size to what you see below. So I'm going to go to shapes, callouts, and this is the oval callout. Click that and drag it. Similar size and shape, so I'm going to kind of put that there. And it says to change the fill and the border color, I'm sorry, of the oval call out to white. There we go, white and white. So that's done. And then it says to duplicate slide 4. So duplicate, here we are to slide, down to slide 5, and it says change the word messages to calendar, C-A-L-A-N-D-E-R, C-A-L-E-N-D-A-R. That is one of those words that I commonly misspell, the word calendar. It says change the fill color of the square to gray. So go here. There's several grays, so you have to find the one that's just plain gray. There we go. Perfect. And going on to step number 28, it says to delete the oval callout. I'm going to delete that. And this one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of having a shape, it's going to have word art and a text box. And so we're going to start with step 29, and it says to insert word art. And it says to insert word art from the insert menu, choose word art. And there's word art. It says in the dialog box, type 30. So I'm just going to type a 30 in there and hit enter on your keyboard. So you'll see that it puts a 30 in there on the gray shape or somewhere on your slide. And now you're going to need to resize the word art to an appropriate size based on the image below, and change the fill and border color to white. So I'm going to go ahead and resize it first. It doesn't have to be perfect, but something. And notice, see how that red line pops up? That tells me I'm centering it. So that's probably good. All right, and then it wanted it to be white fill color and also white border color. So there is that. And then step 30 says to insert a text box. This is different than a word art. So it says you can also add in a text box. To do this, click the text box icon on the button bar and click and drag a rectangle box about above the number but remain inside the square. So I'm going to click the text box icon, And then I'm just going to click and drag and make that a little bigger. So there we go. Just drag it up there. And inside that text box, it says in step 31, type Sunday in all caps. In the text box, it says to bold it. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to bold it. Remember to select something in a text box, you can just click on the outside edge. So I clicked and turned on the bold. I'm going to center align it, and then it says to change the font size to 30. So I'm going to do that right here. All right, and so I'm just going to kind of move that around. So put that in there. So 30. Honestly, it could be a little bit bigger, but I'm just going to leave it at 30. It's just to make sure to position the box so that it looks similar to the slide shown below. And so that looks pretty similar. Pretty good, huh? So there is our calendar app design, and then we're going to duplicate. Step 32 says duplicate slide 5. So I'm going to duplicate. There we are, slide 6. And it says to change the word calendar to calculator. calculator. And then it says change the fill color of the square to orange. I'm going to make sure I got the square, and I'm going to change it to orange. Then it says to delete the text box and the word art. Delete that and that. And then in step 36, it says from the shapes drop down menu, select equation. So there's equation. And it says, then insert the shapes plus, minus, multiply, and equal in similar size, scale, and position to the slide below. So plus, so I'm just going to draw a plus. That looks about the same. Then I'm going to click off of that and do a minus. Oops, it's an equation. Here's a minus. Make sure I get it tall enough. You can always move it. So I'm going to move it up into place there. Next is, and notice I'm clicking over here. If that's selected, I'm just clicking over here so nothing is selected. And I go back to equation, choose multiply. Kind of put it where I want it, click over there, and then one last, it said the equal sign. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, so just going to kind of get those in a similar place on the slides. That looks pretty good. And then it says in step 37, change the fill and border color of the 4 math symbols to white. So I guess I should do that. All right, there's that one. Just doing that rapidly here. So that is step 37. Mine looks pretty similar to what's on the page. And then we're getting close to the end here. One of the last steps says to group objects. It says sometimes you want to group several objects together so that if you need to move them, you could move them all together. Right now, this orange square and all of the math symbols are separate pieces. To group them all into one piece, you should click to the right of the orange box and drag to the left until all parts are inside the box. So I'm just going to click down here below the box and drag up like this. And actually, I don't want calculator app, so I'm going to go below it. And I'm going to speed up to try to finish before our time runs out down here. But I drew that box and notice it put a square around this, but it doesn't look like these things are selected, but they are. And so I'm actually going to go to arrange and tell it to group. And now watch. When I click on this, see all of those parts are together. So that's what you want to do. And so now I'm ready to view my presentation, present from beginning, and you can click your way through when you're done.